Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron, I hope you're having a great day or night in Jesus. We're going to be looking today, does the human body give evidence for creation? I would certainly say yes. The Bible would certainly say yes. It says we're fearfully and wonderfully made. So I've been using kind of as a discussion starter book, Creation versus Evolution by Arlo Molenpaw. I suggest you get a copy. He's doctor of chemistry. He's recently went on to his reward. So let's get started. We just read a little bit of what he says and then discuss some around that. So first he comes into the eye. And so one of the most fascinating things I personally ever read on the eye was a book by a doctor, Dr. Paul Brand, Paul Yancey, just absolutely incredible. This actually had In His Image was one of the books. It was like a two-part series, and I think the other one was called Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. And he goes into how the eye, the intricacies of it, detailing several billion different light signatures and the different cones. It's an impossibility to have evolved. And he's got a quote in here, Molenpaw does. Darwin acknowledged, I suppose, that the eye, with all its inimitable contrivances for adjusting the focus in different distances, for admitting different amounts of light, and for the correction of spherical and chromatic aberration, could have been formed by natural selection, seems, I freely confess, absurd to the highest degree. Absurd to the highest degree. We know it more now that it's just impossible. The ear, even the intricacies of the ear and hooking it up, with the brain, the very sensory things. So you've got the auricles, the outer ear, the external auditory canal guides the waves to the inner ear, lined with fine hairs. And as you get older, they're longer, and tiny glands that produce wax. And then the middle ear consists of an eardrum and three bones, hammer, anvil, and stirrup, with the hammer vibrating the eardrum. The inner ear consists of semicircular canals that give us our sense of balance. The organ of corti enables us to hear, and the normal ear can hear sounds with the power of only 1/10,000th trillionth of a watt. And so that's, if the ears were just a slightly more sensitive, they could hear molecules in the air colliding. And I think that's what you hear with the shell to your ear. And so the nose also gives one of the gates of our body, evidence of creation. Our nose, which is used for breathing and for smelling, has been called the world's finest air conditioning plant. Some parts of our nose are as follow: two nostrils separated by a septum. The nasal passages have a lining of soft, moist mucous membrane covered with microscopic hair-like projections called cilia that wave back and forth to move dust and bacteria to the throat for swallowing. Turbinate bones warm the air before entering the lungs. In fibers of the olfactory nerves, sensation of smell to the brain. Now, realize that all these things, like nose and smelling, are all or nothing propositions. If they're just partially in use, obviously, with the theory of evolution, they're not going to be passed down as beneficial to the next generation. Secondarily, it's not going to be in symbiosis with the rest of the body. And so impossible for evolution to explain. Nobody disputes microevolution. It's macro. The tongue, man's chief organ of taste, is a 2-ounce organ called the tongue. The tongue also helps us to chew and swallow and clears our mouth. Taste buds on the tongue enable us to distinguish between sweet, sour, bitter, and salty taste. And it forms sounds. The tongue is sensitive to temperature. Better to burn your tongue rather than throat or stomach. The tongue is also an indicator of sickness. Ton going on. Speech, taste, protection, all kinds of stuff with the tongue, and even your twofold, whether it's, breathing or going into your stomach. Pretty amazing. And then the skin's the largest organ of the body, enables us to respond to sensations of pain, texture, heat, and cold. The fingertips are the most sensitive to touch or pressure, while the skins of the hands and face have fewer nerve endings to detect heat or cold. The middle layer, which is called the dermis, contains blood vessels, nerves, sweat and oil glands, and hair follicles. The underskin contains tissue that insulates, stores energy, and cushions muscles, bones, and body organs. So the evaporation of sweat glands cause cooling. So you got sweat glands, nerves, all kinds of stuff. And what leprosy does is it deadens the nerves of the skin. So we're totally fearfully and wonderfully made. All this is going into nervous system, circulatory system, neural system, all of this. And again, it's only explained by an incredibly intricate creator with all knowledge. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We're in the image of God. When God became a man, he looked like us. So God bless you. Talk with you later. Check out our other videos. We'll see you. Bye-bye.